special guest for the special guest. Let's go. Hold on, here she comes.
Consider me a big shot. What up, Steve? Mimi Scrap, yo. I'm all love and hip hop. Yes, so solid. It flows through my body. And if you got it, love, I'm told that's what God is. I'm Tyrone Wiggins. Whenever love is given to me, pragmatic. I'm just an addict for your love. I gotta have it. My problems disappear when love's connected. I never wanna take back an hour, minute, or second. What a blessing. Love ain't proud. It ain't true. Love, it rejoices.
I could not
love is so
someone
patient, kind, it doesn't
like I tried to do in my first marriage.
Love your enemies.
Nor
this love sink in. Got love
try to
for
be
my
something
neighbor.
that I
Agape
absolutely
phileo.
was
Let
not.
me be more convincing. Maybe you can dive in and exegete or censor, dissect the scripture. Where Bishop, we show love. Or if you a sinner, transgender like Jenner, well, Caitlyn, we show more love. Basic
Well, I'm sure all of them, but I only deal with men, so I don't know
one
what
love,
to
then
do.
add or multiply it. Don't want to swear by it.
Like I said,
I promise if you don't have love, your life will be full of the
definitely have
opposite.
to
And that's a big mistake.
have your
They trying to
discernment.
demonstrate all love, instinct like Justin Timberlake. And that's a big
But
mistake.
I'm
We
definitely
trying to
not.
demonstrate
I mean,
all love,
That is so
instinct
true.
will
Yeah,
be
they
full
have
of
to
the
forgive the
opposite.
other person,
And
and
that's
then
a
they,
big
first
mistake.
of all, they
We
gotta
trying
forgive
to
themselves
demonstrate
first
all love,
before they can
instinct
go and
like
forgive the other
Justin
person.
Timberlake. And that's a
Because
big
it starts
mistake.
with you.
We trying to
Everything we do,
demonstrate all
whether it's love or
instinct
whatever, it
like
starts with us
Justin
first. We gotta
Timberlake.
love ourselves first before we can show love towards other people. You know, and we gotta forgive ourselves before we can show forgiveness towards others. And also, you have to receive forgiveness from God. There's so many people, they have not forgiven themselves, nor have they received the forgiveness of God because they still hold themselves captive, you know, and they crucify themselves for whatever they've done in the past.
Hey, what's going on out there, people? This is Brother Darwin McGriff with Love Sync Ministries, and this is Love Sessions. And you know how we say, 1 John 4:8, he that loveth not, knoweth not God, for God is love. You know what to do, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Make sure you go ahead on there and hit the like, hit the little love, share, comment, all of that stuff. Make sure you do that on both sides. But on the other side, on the YouTube side, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you leave your name so we can get in contact. But guess what? We're going to be giving away some money. That's right. We're going to be giving away some money for whoever subscribes between now and tomorrow when we do our concert tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned for the concert tomorrow, 7 p.m. We got my man Sir Journey, aka Lester Newsom, featuring Sister Vicky Favor. So make sure you tune in to that on Facebook right here at Love Sync tomorrow, 7 p.m. Be here. So, like I said, make sure that you subscribe on the YouTube side. We're going to give away some money. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you put it on public so we see your name. Gonna shout you out, holler at you so we can go ahead and get you paid. Right now we're just waiting on, I guess they called me, said they were stuck in traffic. They're trying to get to their destination to set up their camera and everything as fast as possible. So in the meantime, between time, I'm gonna run off at the mouth until she jumps on. So while I'm running off at the mouth, you know, I don't speak on a lot of things, you know, that's in the news and all that kind of stuff that comes up. But since a lot of it is kind of geared toward, I guess, the church or the spiritual side of things. So one of the things that, you know, that popped up that everybody was into, and that was the deal with Kirk Franklin and his son sending out the thing, putting out the, you know, the tape that Kirk was cussing him out and all that kind of good stuff. And, you know, like I said, at Love Sync, it's all about God, and God is love, and love does make sure that you hold yourself accountable for what you do, which it seems like everybody has done. Well, I don't know about the son, but the only thing that I can say on that is we pray for both sides to, you know, that's what we always do. There's no condemning and no judgment, but we do go ahead and love on both of them and show them the same love that God will show them, because we know that we made plenty of mistakes and doing plenty of backsliding and saying things that we have no business saying, but God still loves us enough to give us a chance to turn it around and serve him and come back to him. So he loves us enough to do that. So we should love Brother Kurt and his son the same exact way. And like we said, the only thing I hate for Kurt is because when you get caught letting something come out of your mouth like that, the bottom line is then it hurts your witness. So now you got to rebuild the public trust to be able to witness and say, thus saith the Lord again, because you kind of blew that trust with people when you do that. So that's the only issue and problem that I have with that. But hey, like I said, with love, anything can be rebuilt. So hopefully all that's happening right there and all that's going to get back into that. The other thing is, and I never really heard about this guy until this thing. I think I saw every now and then rolling through YouTube, I might have seen his video. But other than that, I didn't even know who the guy was. Still don't really know who he was. But they're saying that, you know, he was I don't know, a marriage. I don't know if he was a marriage expert or whatever he was supposed to be, this Derek Jackson guy. So, you know, again, my thing with that is we constantly show God's love no matter what it is. So, you know, we pray for him and his wife. And again, if he was calling himself a Christian with the things he done, just like we just saying about Kurt, now you lost the trust and your witness is no good. So you have to go back, you know, as they used to say back in the old days, you got to get that sackcloth and put some ashes and sit yourself down and get yourself right before you reemerge yourself again to be able to witness to somebody, because you messed up your witness by the things that you've done. So, you know, hopefully everybody get themselves back together and everything works out for them. We got one more topic to hit on real quick. All right, now we're just waiting on our guest to show up. She called in and said that she was stuck in traffic and she's trying to get here and get there and get to the camera and everything. So we're just waiting on her. So I'm just sprouting off about a couple of these little topics that popped up with Kirk Franklin and this Derek Jackson. And also, now this one here with Lil Nas X. Now, like I said, I've seen bits and pieces of the video and what he said and what's going on. Now, one of the things that I did hear that he said that I guess he mad or rebelling or whatever the case against the church, because I guess when he was going to church, and I don't know if he was letting them know, this is just an assumption, I guess he's mad because he was gay and something happened with him in the church that he left, and that's why he's pushed this thing so far with this video and what he's done. But we got to realize that he's not the only one that's done that. And depending on what church and where and what you're taught, a lot of people have left the church due to what was said to them, what was done to them. So it's not like Lil Nas X is a something new. It's been going on for years, you know. Even myself, but some of the things that I experienced in church when I was younger and stuff, you know, it was a time where I was like, man, this is how it is. If this is the hypocrisy it is, then I don't want to be a part of church. Matter of fact, I was so not wanting to be a part of church that I went to the Nation of Islam. So I was out there selling newspapers and bean pies and stuff for a while because I was that disgusted with church and church folks, or how they treated people, what they said, how they what they were doing. And then, you know, but when you put religion in anything, and just like with the Nation of Islam, when you put religion in there instead of God, aka love, and you make it more about the tradition and the religion and not about God, again, aka love, but it says God is love. And when you don't really show love to God's children, you don't show God to his children, again, that's why I always tell everybody you have a revolving door on the church, because nobody is really getting love, aka God. You're just getting scriptures, you're just getting tradition of stuff, and you're getting a lot of things taught to you from the context of what the preacher or whoever's teaching want to put across, but it's not what God and God, aka love, wants you to put across. And since it's not being done in love, then that's why everybody's just revolving doors on the churches, because they're not able to receive what's going on. Okay, let's see what the sister is saying here. She's trying to get in. Hold on for me. Let's see here. Ready for the link. What do you mean ready for the link? I already emailed it to you. Oh no. All right, y'all. Let me do some things real quick. Emailed the link before, but we'll do it again. No problem. No problem. We will do it again. For Miss Shonda. There she go. I'm sorry about that, y'all. That's what happens when you try to get everybody together and do the test and everything, and then they can't get to you the way they should. These things happen, but that's okay. That's why I don't mind live, because hey, I used to deal with comedy shows and stuff, so vamping is nothing new for me. So just hang in there with me while I get this done. Yep, here she go right there. Hey sister, I emailed it to you the other day, remember? It just says be live guest, but that's all right. Let me, what's your hit me your email again. Yeah, just Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. No problem at all. I'm getting ready to send it to you right here so you can jump on with me. Yeah, I'm already on. Just talking to him. Okay, there you go. Just sent it to you, so you should be getting it in just a minute, okay? All right. Just like I said, just follow the link and jump on when you can. All right. No problem. So yes, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, so you know, if we start actually showing God's love, that's one of the reasons, if you haven't listened to me before, that our ministry is called Love Sync Ministries, because God woke me up 3 o'clock in the morning and said, hey, the church is not showing my love. In other words, they're not showing me, because God is love. And that's why we started Love Sync Ministries back in 2015, because we need to sync up with God, aka love. We need to be more like God. We don't need to be playing games, playing church, jumping over pews, hanging from chandeliers, foaming at the mouth. We need to be more like God. We need to be showing him, or God, which is love. As he shows us love, as he forgive us for everything we do, as he just take care of us, the way God takes care of us, because God loves us so much, is the same way that we're supposed to be loving God's children. If you're a minister, an elder, a deacon, a pastor, a reverend, a bishop, whatever you call yourself, if you're not showing God's people God, aka love, then you need to go sit down somewhere and work on yourself. Because if you're not showing love, aka God, then that means you don't have it in you to show. So you got to make sure that you're doing that before you do anything else. You make sure that you're showing God's people God, aka love. That's the most important thing. Because without that, if you can't build a love relationship with God, then what are you in this for? You may well just go ahead, pack it up, and go home. But right now, she's popped up on, ladies and gentlemen, is with me. Took a little time, but here, let me put everything together. Introduce you, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for this young lady, Miss Rashana Hampton. What's going on, young lady?
Hallelujah. Hello, Brother D. How you doing?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, sitting up there waiting on you. You know, you got me vamping and telling stories and stuff.
Well, I'm so glad you was handling it until I came on. I'm so honored to be one of your guests.
Well, hey, I'm honored to have you as a guest. So like I do all my guests, so we can shake the cobwebs out. I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions just to get you going, and I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you all the way back to high school. You ready?
Wow. Okay, I'm ready.
First one is, where did you go to high school?
Oh, the one and only Diamond Hill Jarvis High School, Diamond Hill Eagles. Yes.
Okay, well that's 2 questions in one, because I was going to ask you what was your mascot, but you got that one covered. All right. Yeah. And who was your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher was definitely my coach, Elaine West.
All right. And what was your favorite subject?
My favorite subject was English.
Okay. And what school activities were you involved in?
All right. So I was the drum major for my band. I played the drums in band. I played varsity volleyball, varsity basketball, varsity track. And I was the president of the student council. And I was also the musician for our gospel choir.
Okay, well, you doing it all. You was busy, huh?
Yeah.
They got you as most likely to succeed in your yearbook then, huh?
In the yearbook, it was I think it was the most athletic.
Oh, okay. Now here's the question of all questions. Now, you ready for it? Because somebody get ready to be happy and get a shout out. Who was your high school crush?
My high school crush?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now that's kind of broad. So do you mean like a student crush or teacher?
Okay,
what do you mean?
If you talking about a teacher, then we got.
You know how you have the teacher crush, you know?
No, I got to make a phone call right here now. No. Now, what other student did you have a crush on?
Student that I had a crush on. Well, in high school, well, he went to Dunbar High School. He graduated from Dunbar, graduated from Texas A&M. You know, his name was Roger Middlebrooks. Now.
Oh no, why y'all get all shy on mention who y'all high school crush is?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That's what I'm saying. So what's the problem? Y'all get over here, be all shy and stuff. Ain't nothing but a high school crush. All right, so here we get ready to get into the nitty gritty of things here. Now,
all right, so, okay.
What I always used to like, what I ask my guests first is, when did you first get saved? But then when did you start taking the word serious?
Okay, well, I can actually remember that. When I was a member at Christian Learning Center, my pastor at the time was the late Joe Walker Sr., and I was 15 years old, and Pastor Philip Brown, he did a youth conference, a youth revival at the church. And I'll never forget it, because prior to the youth revival, you know, when you're 15, you think you're grown. And, you know, my mom, she had wanted me to do some things, and I didn't really want to do it. And, you know, we, was clashing. And so it was like, my mom kept praying, like, it's going to get better. And then that night, when he was preaching about, a mother's love. And so it convicted me so bad. It convicted me so bad that when it was time to come to the altar, I wanted to come to Christ, because that, Rashana, that's not how you act, being a child of God. So I I came to Christ at the age of 15. And I can see my mom, she was on the side of the wall just shouting and just thanking God. She embraced me. When I went to the altar, I got on my hands and knees saying, God, here I am. I literally did that. And so we embraced each other, and it was wonderful. Ever since then, I understood, sometimes I have to be chastised if I'm not doing right, So it was definitely when I was 15. But when I started, when you're 15, you kind of, so don't let me just say like squeaky clean record. I don't have no squeaky clean record. But, when I took it serious is after my first marriage, because it was an abusive marriage. It was an abusive marriage. And I was so mad at God because I didn't understand why this was happening to me. And then it was not until, his name is Bishop Brown. He always kept in contact, want to know how I'm doing. And so he asked my mom, he was like, what is your daughter's favorite restaurant? She said she loves some Red Lobster. And so we went. And so after he was talking to me, realizing, you didn't die. Everything you've been through, you didn't die. And so I'm like, wow, he said, you have a purpose. You may not know what your purpose is right now, but keep living and keep serving God. I promise you, he's going to start showing you your purpose. And I thank God for that day, because that's when I started taking it serious. And then in 2007, I heard the call to come preach, to become a preacher. Now, in 2007, I was excited, but then I let other people deter me away from my call. So I'm like, okay, 2016 on Father's Day, I said, it's time to get serious and get right. And so on Father's Day, that's when I told my pastor, Pastor Walker, that I'm ready to go forward and not look back. And it just happened to be the next year on Father's Day, but it was a year since my mom's passing.
So now, since you went up there and gave your life at 15, so let me ask you this: as a 15-year-old girl, what did that mean to you? When I gave my
I'm keeping it 100. I'm like, okay, I felt good. That Sunday we embraced and everything. I felt good. Monday, I was still me. Still having fun. And I'm like, okay. So it's like, I guess and that's one thing about what I love about, my Bishop Chester McGowan Jr. at King's Court Ministries. As a youth, when you come in and you give your life to Christ, now they talk to you and tell you, okay, they put you on the path where you're supposed to go, how things are supposed to be, letting you know what's going to happen, and to not give up, just to keep going, and then give you people to talk to whenever you need, if you need to talk to somebody. So.
Okay, well, I've talked to some single women, and some both in late 20s, early 30s, and then some in the 40s, 50s. So as a 15-year-old girl, and you say, well, people are talking to you and they're trying to guide you. So what the younger ones was telling me, that when they was going through the church at a young age, they seemed that they were being groomed more for becoming a wife, but they didn't see the boys being taught how to become husbands. So did you have that feeling, or was it something totally different that you were being taught or guided towards?
No, no, not really.
Okay. Well, different churches, different times, so it can all be different. So, so now back to my question then. So as a 15-year-old girl, And now, like you said, now you're going to church. You said people are talking to you, guiding you in the right direction. So, as a 15-year-old girl, what were they teaching you? How were they guiding you in the way that you're supposed to go as a 15-year-old saved girl?
Well, okay. So, like, I'm from the old school. So, they tell you, keep your legs closed, don't get pregnant, and no means no. You need to focus on school because you have a bright future. So you don't want to mess that up by doing the wrong thing. Don't do any drugs. Drugs gonna mess up that brilliant mind of yours. You know, drinking isn't good for you either. They was instilling things like that. Like, what would happen if I do that? So the difference in this generation, and I like it, it's like I tell young girls, about how they can be how beautiful they are. I don't teach them about becoming a wife. I want to teach them how to become an awesome, fabulous, beautiful Black girl. To groom into a woman. Let them speak for themselves. Don't let anybody speak for you. So it's just a different time zone.
Okay. So now, what year did you get married?
It was 1999. October 7th, 1999.
And how long did you stay married?
Now, this is interesting because when I got married, October 7th, I didn't see any of this at the beginning. I promise you. It was beautiful. He was 11 years older than me. It was so wonderful. I was 24 at the time. And when I got married, the next day, he put his hands on me. This is after saying I do. And how, and I do share this with people, some people, how when somebody talks to you in a real gentle, calm voice, I'll never forget, he told me, he said, "You're such a beautiful young lady. And I know you don't like being hit. And I know you want to tell somebody. But, even a person can, retaliate from the inside. Just remember. And just know that I know you love your family. They can be eliminated too. So I won't slap you no more in the face because they'll see that. So I'll just work on from your neck down because now you mine."
Wow. So how did you process all that?
I thought I saw the devil head on. I'm like, what in the world did I get myself into? Because I didn't see any of this. We wasn't arguing or anything. It was beautiful.
Right.
And I was like, wow. And then I'm saying the dates for a reason because November the 7th was the day before my birthday. And I found out that he was a drug dealer. And I didn't know anything about drugs whatsoever. And I'm like, he had some drugs at the house. And so my parents, they raised me, when you get married, you're married. But you got to make it work. So I'm like, my marriage is too abusive, but I got to make him smile some type of way. And so next thing you know, I looked at some drugs. I said, well, maybe I need to start taking drugs to make him happy because I don't take drugs. Every time I see people doing it, I walk the other way. And they look like little dice, right? And it was a lot of little dice. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? And so it was like, I was messing up a lot of dice, trying to cook it. I'm like, I saw this in Menace to Society. I'm like, okay, I didn't take it, but I was messing it up. And I was like, I don't know what I did. I said, oh my goodness, he gonna kill me. Well, on my birthday, he had to report because he was on parole and he got sent away.
Okay.
So I said, "Ooh, I dodged that." Yeah. So he was gone from November the 8th because in October 7th, my car got stolen. And I'm like, where is it? It was a beautiful Camaro. And I'm like, so I didn't have my car. On November the 8th, when he got sent in, they told me my car was at a pound and it had like a mountain of, I guess, cigars, the stuff in the cigars. It had a lot of that in a pound. And it was told to me that he sold it for drugs. But he told me somebody stole it. So I'm still trying to make it work. Our apartment, we didn't really have anything. I worked 4 jobs because I wanted him to call me whenever he could. And I was paying for the phone bill, still putting money on his books, still being the wife I'm supposed to be because they don't believe in divorce. And so next thing you know, so I'm working a lot of jobs, 4 jobs, right? So I'm not at the clubs with him because I'm working. So then June the 7th, he got out. And when he got out, June the 10th, no, it was June the 9th. It was June the 9th because it was over in the night. June the 9th. I said, let's just go somewhere. Let's go to a club. You want to shoot pool? And he was like, I don't really want to go. I said, come on, go on and show him your skills. Say you still got it. He was like, all right. So we went to the club and everybody, they haven't seen us. They sure haven't seen me because I was working. And so they know that I don't drink. So they always give me orange juice. So while I was over there with people, they was like, hey, calling me, hey, Miss Lady, hey, how you doing? Somebody was in his ear. And I found out they was telling him, you see how everybody's swooning over your wife? Your apartment didn't have anything. And now it's fully furnished. Look how good she looking. She young. She got a sugar daddy.
Oh, no.
And then he turned. And that's when, and it happened over in the night, which was June 10th, where he was beating me up really bad. And then when I love my younger brother because when I called, my mom, she told me something. I don't want to reveal this because somebody might need this and I don't want to give it away for people that's listening. But let's just say I did call home. I found a way to call home. And my little brother answered the phone and I told him, I said, just beating me up. And he's like, what? So my brother and my dad, he was home for college. And my brother and my dad came to my apartment. And I have like 17 or 18 steps to get to my apartment. My brother said he made it in 3 steps. That's how bad, that's my baby brother. But, and so he saw me and he couldn't recognize me because I was beaten up real bad. So when we got to the hospital, one of my sisters, who is a detective, she was there, and another police officer, female, they was like, do you want to press charges? And my parents, they was looking like, okay, yes, come on, baby. And I'm looking numb, like I didn't want to say anything because I remember that talk he told me. And so my mom had this face, she had this look, and then she was like, wait a minute, you're not finna press charges? You're not finna. So she was getting emotional, she was getting mad, like, no, this man did this to you. She was really hot. And so, the doctors and them, they had to wait. And so the detective said, what did he tell you? And so when I told him, I said he was gonna kill my family. He said, okay. So when she told my parents and everything, my dad, he told me, he said, God got us. So you press charges because you don't want this to happen again. And so I pressed charges and they took him away.
So now I got to ask you, see, when I listen to people when they talking, that's what make me come up with other questions.
Okay.
Especially when we're supposed to be living a certain lifestyle and everything.
Mhm.
So all this time, well, what I'm gonna scrap that question. Here's what I'm gonna do for you, because I know you you got your ordination and everything, so you legitimate. You know what I'm saying? You
Oh, yeah.
certified. You got
Yes.
that check mark.
Yes.
So now, how would you counsel? What would you say to a woman that you saw that was in the same situation that you were in?
Well, definitely, I would pray because I want to be led by the Holy Spirit. I don't want them to hear Rashana. I want them to hear the Holy Ghost using me to say the right things. And I have counsel with women like this. And the way I just talk to them, I began to say the answers to the questions that they're not saying. Like I said, I know you're wondering why this is happening to you. I know you're one, and then, without revealing their privacy, but I start answering questions that they just so happen to be going through. And then I let them know, I said, I'm not saying this because I don't know. I know because I've been through it too. And then when their eyes get big, they're like, really? I was like, yes. And you see, I'm still here by the grace of God. And you're going to get through this too. Because one thing about me is when my mother, when she had a stroke, me and my brothers, my family, we love our mom. But as much as we wanted to talk to her and tell her we're here for you, she wasn't hearing what we were saying because we never had a stroke. But when my Uncle Lee, may he rest in peace, he had a stroke, and everything he told my mom, she was listening. So I took that in when I counsel with other women that's been through it. I want to let them know I've been through it too. This not brand new. I'm not being here like, okay, this never happened. I don't know. I haven't experienced this. I've experienced it too. So we get down and grindy with it, and we slang a snot and cry. And I just want to let them know you have a shoulder to lean on.
So now, like you were taught, like you said, when you get married, you get married. And like I said, when the old school used to say that, because it's like, hey, we're together for life. You know, what God put together, you know how it go. So how do you counsel? What do you tell them then about, hey, stay in that marriage and work it out? Or, I mean, so how do you work with that then?
All right. So when I told my mom, because my mom, she was like, why did you stay with him the first time he put his hands on you? And I said, because you said when I'm married, there's no divorcing. And you and Daddy, y'all been together a long time, and Aunt Trinell and Uncle Joe been together. You know, my Aunt Doretha and Uncle Tony, Dr. Doretha and Uncle Tony y'all been together. Even my cousin Ella and James, they've been together more than 20 years, you know? So she said, okay. She said, if a man put their hands on you, that is not of God. And she said, and you get out of that situation. You don't stay in something like that. And I said, okay. I got the green light.
But see, but again, though, that was after the fact.
Yeah, that was after.
How do we, because what we don't want a young woman to go through that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what is it that in ministry or whatever, what do we need to say to these women early in the marriage before it gets to that point where, oh, that's what you meant? Well, that's not what you said. You know what I'm saying? So how do we get that to them now, that soon as somebody put hands on them, or soon as somebody tell them, hey, well, you're ugly, you can't cook, you can't clean, you can't, and then, you know, whether it's verbal or mental abuse or whatever the case may be, physical. So how do we get to them then so they don't, like I said, they just don't live in it until they either, like I said, the guy gets sent to jail, or like I said, hopefully she doesn't get killed, or, you know, whatever. How do we prevent that before all that goes?
Okay. So basically, I would tell the young ladies, first of all, know who you with. Number one, don't let the good looks and what he can do mesmerize with who he is. I could tell them, be led by the Spirit if this is the guy. But what if they not at that point yet? So I have to talk their language. I'm like, know his resume. Know his resume. If he got all these characteristics and like some of them are red flags, do you want to put yourself be another statistic, or you need to know? Ask people about them. Different people. Like, what about this person? These are things that I didn't do with my first husband. I didn't ask. It was like his family was so excited that I was, with him. They wasn't gonna tell me anything because they was just happy he's yours. And so I would tell them to ask people, just different people, not the same family group and family members. Ask the friends, the history. What kind of person is this you're with? And then think about what you want in life. And then see if what he wants in life, if you're compatible. Instead of just going there and say, make sure y'all are equally yoked. If they don't understand that, you got to break it down where they do understand it. And to date, just date first. Don't say, oh, he the one after 2 weeks. Well, this is not 1960 where people just get married and stay married forever. This is 2021. Date. Get to know each other. Get on each other's nerves and see how you make it work.
Right.
That's what I was telling you.
Well, that's good. That's good. Because we definitely don't want repeat offenders and women living through that, thinking that they don't have no out, or thinking that because they were taught or told this from the Bible, then that means I'm locked in and I can't get out. Yeah. Definitely don't want that mindset going around. So let's get into the next phase of everything. So when did you start getting that singing bug?
Actually, when I was 4 years old, I was singing in the youth choir at Mount Nebo, where the late David Green was the pastor, and he loved him some Rashana because he had a radio station called Heaven 97 KHVN. And so I wish I could find a tape, but I was singing, if anybody asks you, tell them I'm a child of God. And he played that on the radio. And so that's when it started, because I was taking Scope bottles and I was taking cups, pretending they microphones, and I'm just singing. So it started when I was 4. And then what's unique is when I was 12 years old, and I was trying out for the Texas Girls Choir. My mother and my godmother, they took me to get my hair done, get me a new dress, and I was very excited. So we get there, and they said that I was too young. And my birthday was the next month. It happened in October. And my mom, she said, wait a minute. She knows the song. And then my godmother said, baby, sing the song. So I sung. And, there were a lot of people who didn't look like me in the room. And they were like, oh, she can sing. And they were like, are you going to let her sing? They had that worried look. And so they said, I'm sorry. She's not old enough. And my mom and I started crying. I'm like, wow, after I sung. And so my mom said, no, don't cry, baby. We're going to find you somewhere else. Let's go. And so my godmother and my mother, they was looking, and there was a church. There was a church, Saintsville, and they had a 500 voice choir. And they signed me up for that. And you got a picture, 500 children all in this sanctuary, everywhere, people everywhere. It's not the tenors, sopranos, alto. We everywhere. I was way in the back. I was way in the back, and I was just singing away. And that director, excuse me, the director, he said, stop. And he pointed, true story, he pointed all the way. He said, you, right there, in the pink shirt. And I'm looking, I got a pink shirt. He said, yes, ma'am, come here. He said, I hear you. So I became one of the lead vocalists to lead a song in the choir. And I said, okay. So my mom said, see what the devil meant for evil? God worked it out for your good. You on a bigger stage, bigger platform. And so that's when it started burping out that I want to sing.
So who all have you opened up for?
I have opened up, the biggest one that I've opened up is the Mighty Clouds of Joy. And it was the way that happened, Reverend Pastor Jack Taylor. I was singing. I always sing for the Baptist Union banquet, and it's a big event it always happens in May at Travis Avenue, where all the Baptist pastors. It's like over 400 people there, and so I'm the entertainment for the evening. And so when I sung there. At the end, Pastor Taylor, he was like, baby, you are who I've been looking for. And I was like, okay. And he said, how would you like to open up for the Mighty Clouds of Joy? I'm like, are you serious? Woo-hoo! I was excited. I told my dad is always my date, and so my dad was excited. And so when I opened it up, the weird part is my mom, she was at that concert, but my dad was in the hospital, so he couldn't make it. So when I opened up, after I opened up and everything, I said, this night is not complete. I said, I want to go to the hospital and serenade my dad, everything I did tonight. So it's all on video where I'm singing his favorite song to him. He loves the song Yesterday by Mary Mary. And so I definitely sung that. I played my piano, keyboard. I took all of that to the hospital. But and so I've opened up for them. I'm always the entertainment for the Baptist Union banquet. And I used to open up for the Mrs. Texas pageant. It's always held in South, what is it? South Carroll. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And when I was working at Radio Shack, I always sung the national anthem for big events for Radio Shack.
Okay. All right. So when did you release your first? Well, I don't know. Depends on how long you've been doing it. Did you release your first album, CD, disc, or?
Okay. So good question. So Miss Rashana came to about in 2018. I've always been Sister Hampton, the musician. But 2018, Miss Rashana was burping out. Where I announced where I'm going to be a solo artist. And so 2019, I had my first concert. It was outdoors. And I was working on my EP. So I had an EP release. And so it was a lot of people there showing love, buying my CD and stuff. And so now I'm working on my album.
Okay. So now, what were you releasing then that night that I saw you with Lester?
That was my EP.
Okay.
That I was releasing my EP release.
Okay. All right. So that wasn't outdoors. No. So how's everything? So how's everything going musically then?
I am right now. Music is going well because my bishop, he still allows me to do praise and worship virtual, so I'm still getting some singing in. But I am a 4th grade teacher, and so I devote a lot of my time with school. So I am so ready for school to be over with because then I can focus on Miss Rashana more. But I'm enjoying being a teacher. Don't let me say it like that.
Okay, well, Hey, more power to you, because I'll get ready to pray for you, because I know, boy, I used to substitute teaching. Woo, elementary was rough.
Yes.
I'm like, keep me in the high school, because those
Wow.
kids.
And see, I'm a reading and writing teacher in 4th grade. So next Tuesday, they're taking their STAR test. And so the pressure is on. I'm praying for them. So I'm asking everybody to pray for the 4th graders taking a STAR, because what people fail to realize, last year when they were 3rd graders, the pandemic started. So they really didn't finish 3rd grade. So they're not finishing 3rd grade into 4th grade and still required to take this test. So pray for them that they do well.
Well, I probably talked to, I don't know if anybody else I had on here was a school teacher, but let me ask you this, since you are a school teacher.
Yes, Sunrise McMillan, woo, home of the Jaguars. I gotta put it out there. Yeah, Principal Cole. She's an awesome principal, and Vice Principal Sharp. They are wonderful. They dealt us too. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, but so is it really necessary to have these tests for kids to go to the next grade?
Absolutely not.
That's what I figured. I'm like, the whole time we was going to school, we never had to take no end of year test. You just had your final exams and you moved on.
Exactly. And believe it or not, a lot of teachers were saying they need to take the test out. Tests don't define who the students are. They are pressured, they're scared, they're nervous. But what we teach them and we test what we've teach them, that makes sense.
Right. So yeah, I just want to always ask that, because I just don't see the purpose in it. I don't know if that's a money making thing or somebody is getting paid off of it or what, but
yeah, I know.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Well, I'll tell you what, young lady, it was a pleasure speaking to you today. I'm glad you jumped on. So before I let you go, I need you to tell everybody, all your social media, where they can get a hold of you, where they can get a hold of music. So everything that they need to know, you need to hit them up right now.
Right now. All right. Well, you can find me, Rashana Hampton, on Facebook. It's under Rashana Hampton. Instagram, Miss Rashana on Instagram. All right. A lot of people, when you look at my Facebook, I am 10 years old on that picture, but that's my mom. So you'll see a little girl and a mother. That's me. Yes. But Instagram, you'll have my Miss Rashana look with the headphones. That's me. And what was the other thing you said?
No, everything social media, everything.
Yeah. Yes, everything social media. You can go to kingscourt.org or King's Court Ministry, and you can see me do praise and worship on Sunday mornings. If you're not doing anything, just click on the link and keep staying tuned, because my bishop, he throws down with the word of God. Yes. And let's see, and I believe that's it. Oh, and my music. You can find my music on Spotify, Amazon, and I believe that's it for right now. Oh, on YouTube. Yes.
Okay. And so, like you said, so since COVID got everybody locked down, so there's, besides just seeing you doing your praise and worship, there's nothing coming up here soon, right?
So I am, because I am a preacher, so I will be officiating 2 weddings, and there are women conferences that are, since we're opening back up slowly, and so I'm in the making, being invited, being a guest speaker to speak, and I will let you know on my page whenever I'm speaking somewhere. And also, if you want to book me for things, you can contact my manager, Pete Hampton, at 817-657-9067. Again, 817-657-9067. He will be more than happy to talk to you.
No, he won't.
Yeah, he will. I'm his sister.
I left him my number and everything that night of that EP release, and I ain't heard from him since.
He's busy. You gotta call him. You gotta call him, friend. He travels around right now he's doing a documentary of our old high school. And April 18th, So all you Diamond Hill Jarvis alumni, you need to be at Rosa's Theater on Main Street, April 18th. Red carpet. You gotta look cute. You gotta look good. It's not no blue jean event. So go get your red bottoms. Go get cute on that day. I will be there in the midst. So I want to see my classmates. Yeah.
There you go. All right, well, Miss Rashawn, I appreciate you jumping on. Just hang on for me. Don't hang up. Let me do my closing, and I'll be right back with you.
Thank you, Brother D.
All right, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our sister, Miss Rashawn Hampton. You see her, she's all bubbly, she's all happy, she's full of the spirit. That's what you call joy right there. See, most of y'all come over here, be looking all halfway smiling and stuff. Like I told some ministers that's doing my men's group, I said, y'all got to send me some pictures of y'all smiling. I said, we ain't doing no gangster preachers. Why y'all not smiling? We got to show people that we joyful people. So, hey, y'all make sure, like I said, Facebook, YouTube, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, comment, everything that you know you're supposed to do, do it. We'll get back with you. Make sure that you subscribe on YouTube between now and tomorrow, because tomorrow, like we said, we're doing 7 p.m. We're doing our Facebook concert with Sister Vicky Favors and my main man, Sir Journey, a.k.a. Lester Newsom. So y'all make sure y'all tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Until then, you know what we always say here, you must constantly walk in love. And why is that? Because you might be the only love that anybody sees their entire life. So until then,